Yeah, guys, pound number 10, and I'm super excited to be with you guys. As always, we'll dive into love the community, then talk about what's happening on the markets. Today, we'll dive in, are we in the bear markets or are we in a bear drop? Then we're going to talk about, of course, about a lot of beautiful things that was happening on SwissBorg Network as the new community bundles, and you guys have to vote to see if this is going to happen or not. Talk about some earn new strategies that is regarding staking and other things, and of course, talk about alpha rewards. And last but not least, talk about a new great deal curated by BorgPad with the Alpha deal. As you guys know, my name is Cyrus Fazel, the proud founder and CEO of SwissBorg, always here to serve you. And let's dive into the beautiful question of the week. Small businesses, you guys want corporate accounts. How you can make that happen? Until now, the threshold is 100K. We're trying to figure out a way that essentially, how can we offer this to a bigger amount of people and create a great business model to it. So we're thinking about different things here, and we will keep you noted. But in the meantime, if you are interested in a corporate account, there is a way to apply within the SwissBorg website. So just check it out. And you have corporate accounts could be asked over there. And Jean-Cédric is the person that could help you out. Top voted Pow Wow comments last week, and shout out to you guys. Thomas Olivier, vous êtes au top. Thank you very much for that. That was during our live. Sesmar 2808, super vidéo, très intéressant vos projets. Et Sergio Philippe Oliveira, thanks SwissBorg. So thank you for all of that. There's a lot of positive things coming from the last week's live, which was really good. It was chapter 4 last week. And thank you very much, Guillaume, to Bazooka, cool name, and Alex. Of course, it was only nice things happening there, so it was really great. So where are the current cycle? Jeremy just did this job, which is, Jeremy, if you don't know him, was a co-founding team. He's been with us since day one, and he's done a beautiful work. And, you know, in the next 5-10 minutes, we'll make it as short as possible, is to really understand where we are. Are we going into the bear market, or are we going into a bull market, or we're still in the bull market? And that's the big question. And I know the sentiment is always very positive when the SwissBorg network is very negative of other people around crypto. And I know it's really hard. I have a lot of bills to pay like everyone. I thought I didn't cash out on many of my positions, most of my positions, by the way. I did some mistakes, but that's good, because through this presentation, I understand that these mistakes, it's just another reason to get to be better at what you're doing, investing, and to understand this market, and at least understand really the big thing. Industry-wise, predictions about black swans or whatsoever is always difficult. Trump could dump, Trump could pump. We never know. But one thing that we do know is that we talked about this multiple times, is how these cycles work and how the injection of liquidity is really the energy that fuels any bull market, right? And what is very interesting here is that if you look carefully at what is happening right now, the global financial condition index is very, very poor. And very often the economy, surprise index goes in pair with that. So we're very, very looking forward of this rebound that's going to happening. And usually this happenings when there's foundational conditions that are easing. So what it means, there's an injection of liquidity pretty much. The biggest thing we talked about multiple times is that the Americans are indebted like they're no tomorrow. There's been the highest amount of debt has been created through the Biden administration, which is insane. And this is not only about USA, it's just how the economy has been poorly being managed. We know that there's 26 trillion that the government has to refinance. And there's 7 trillion that has to be done in a short matter of time. What we see right now is the only way to refinance that is if they're able to essentially be able to get money for cheap. Because if they start borrowing at a very high interest rate to repay their finance, well, then they're going to just accumulate more debt as we speak, right? Because it's a bit like if you go to a bank, and if you have debt and then you want to put on more debt on it, well, you still have, first you need to have working well and have some revenues. Second, what you need is to refinance that debt at a lower pace than your actually revenues, right? So what you really need to do is cut maybe some spending, which is what's happening with Dodge. Number two, but that will not suffice. Make more revenue, grow the GDP of the country, or the revenues for yourself, for the bank, and then be able to refinance your debt at a lower price than it was before. So that's pretty much how the economy entirely works. What we know is that any markets is always driven from that, and the GMI is a great way to show how the liquidity essentially pumps the cycles. And right now we are right here, where essentially the cycle is here, but we have all this one to play, right? And these cycles always go in par, right? They could be some little bit of not 100% correlated, but most of the time they go always very in par. So here we're seeing like this time again is probably going to be like this a bit. You see how we're going to play this, and it's going to go high, and then it's going to go low again. And it is one of the best thing to do. I always say it's like going to a bar. If people lower the prices or start making an open bar, everyone's going to go rush to the bar and start drinking a lot. Liquidity is the same thing. Now, if you look at what has happened, is that history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Or if you've been to Thailand, it's same but different, right? That was a bad Thai accent. Same but different. That was much better. And here's the same thing. So the DXY is the dollar index that shows the strength of the dollar. That could be positive for being able to negotiate tariffs, or if people have a lot of different loans towards the US, right? So if the dollar becomes very strong, then you have a very great bargaining power to put pressure on countries. Why? Because they have to pay back in dollars, right? So whatever they pay, because they're between countries, they have to finance their debts. It's not though very good for exports, right? Because you want a lower amount of power versus your dollar. The Swiss franc is very high, for example, right now. Well, luxury or whatsoever, healthcare, unfortunately, or Nestle or whatever, it's not very good for export. So for this, what has happened is Trump is doing the exactly same technique as he did before. He's making it super strong. He's doing all his tariffs things or whatever's on his agenda with our different countries. He's playing the hard hand. And then after, what he's going to try to do is reverse that to make it as cheap as possible. Like that, he gets his conditions of international tariffs whatsoever. And then he starts lowering down the dollar because he already had his negotiations put in place. He's happy about that. And that will drive more eventually business within the US, right? So they're very happy to do that. And it really is rhyming by similar what has happened in his first mandate 8 years ago. So now the second thing, which is very interesting here, is to look at how it follows 2017. The weaker dollar will unlock huge financial easing, liquidity injections. That's what we just said. But the second thing, which is very important here, is that China is desperately living in a worse situation. And they have to refinance their real estate debt, and the EU is not doing too well either. So all these countries have to repay their debt, refinance their debt by essentially borrowing even more money. That's what they do. A country cannot go bankrupt, or like a superpower country cannot go bankrupt, and they just need to refinance it. Cycle momentum is very, very understandable. We always talk about halving, and what is very interesting is that halving has had a huge, for whatever reason, a good timing with liquidity injection. Was that done on purpose or not? It's hard to understand. But if you look at the injection of liquidity has done always at times where halving has happened, and in 2015, which communicated a huge amount of Bitcoin price, then in end of 2019, and then right now that's happening. So we see that there's definitely a nice correlation between injection liquidity and risky assets. It's as easy as that. So ESM manufacturing is one of the very, very solid one for macro. And this as well gives the cycles on a bigger picture, which is that Whenever the ISM starts growing and accumulates around the 50, it shows essentially a bull market that's happening. And look how this has been extremely precise for crypto, but as well as stocks and how they rallied. And you see like the opposite here, the biggest bear market of all time that has had, at least I personally had, was in 2008 here, right? So you really see how this is right now positioned to go for a nice little pump. You could always say that this could happen and go down, but eventually the pump will happen, right? And this is very important. So you see that this as well is a very nice indicator that we will go through a massive bull part. Another one that you've known many times when we talked about it is the 4 seasons. And the 4 seasons is very well done. My prediction here is that the summer is accumulating within 25, and we'll probably have a fall that will be between essentially 25 and 26. The cycle is a bit longer, and that's fine. Sometimes, like in weather, you have a short winter or you could have a long summer, right? It's just how things like Indian summer. Oh, let's call it as Indian summer. There you go. We'll have an Indian summer essentially, right? Well, that will go through October and November, and then the fall could play out a little bit later than what we previously had, but that's completely fine. Then two other graphics that's really more focused now on Bitcoin is the top finder, the GMI Bitcoin top finder. This one's really well done too. Is that whenever it goes over, the price goes over these cycles, then we see that, well, it's done pretty much, right? We see that the first time was here, then it tanked, here it tanked, here it tanked, here it tanked, here. Then these things are back tested. So it's always easy to work before. It doesn't mean it's going to be the same after. But we still are very, very far away from this oscillation. So yeah, we still have a long time to go. And if you look at the RSI, which is a good one, is that we see that right now we're completely oversold, which is a really big one. Obviously, the capitulation is not as big, and that's why I've said that we could still go further down. That's something I strongly believe. Per cycle, we've talked about this. We have between 5 and 7 different pullbacks of over 25%, and they're completely sane and normal. The very interesting of this cycle is that we have already a few of them, and I think so this is always better for bringing, not going too crazy about it, right? And bring in foundations that are really important. What we know here as well is that Bitcoin has been the most performing asset always 3 years in a row, and then the worst performing asset, right? So you see here, it was 3 years prior, then worst performing asset 3, and then 2018 happened, and then 2019, 2020, 2021, 22 worst performing, best performing 23, 24, 25, and then 26 worst performing. These are completely normal and make sense. And I think 2025 is definitely a year that will have great performance regarding this. The secular thing of crypto and tech is just normal. If you look at Cathie Woods and really smart people, this is the future. Is the future going to be less technologically driven? I mean, that's quite easy, right? Is AI going to stop? Is social media going to stop? Is video games going to stop? Is crypto going to stop? No, it's not, right? It's not that difficult to position yourselves on those, rather on the infrastructure, on the applications, or whatsoever. It's just that that's the secular trend, and it's just going to grow. And it's going to probably concentrate a lot regarding AI. It's going to cost you a lot regarding social media potentially, or not. Maybe thanks to crypto, everything will be decentralized. But what we know is those teams are just to be the best one that will perform in the future. You could maybe add to that, pharma and biotech, but that's still biotech to some extent. So there's not so many themes to play, and these ones are very, very volatile for sure. And we've seen this yesterday, but they're the most rewarding one. And maybe last but not least, I think so it's very important that crypto has been created from us, by us, for us. And we have really this beautiful play to have. You really have to stick to what we're saying and be convinced. I think so everyone listening here would probably agree about that. I think there's one thing as well to just the crypto Twitter thing. I mean, not the Borgers. There's only positive thing. Obviously we still have some, some issues time to time, but the trend is usually quite positive there. But the other people, I don't think they really get the bigger game. And a lot of people just want to farm likes and comments or whatsoever, right? So are we in 2022? I mean, of course we're not. 2022, first we had 2020, 2021 as great years. 2022, we had a fiasco happening, internally bleeding of crypto. 3AC, Celsius, FTX was horrible. And this has nothing to compare of liquidations, what are happening. It's a distrust complete about the industry and how CZ was fighting against the SBF and all. It was a really, really bad industry and bad practices. Number two, the interest rates were at zero. There was no more oxygen. There was no more, the bar was empty. So there was going to only, the injection of liquidity was at the maximum. Inflation was at 7%, one of the highest inflation of the history of most global markets. So now we're on the opposite. I mean, is there some tension in the industry? Yeah, there could be some things, but if you think about the bigger picture in the industry, is that no, the industry is getting better. Everything is getting better. We have pro-presidents that are pro-crypto presidents. We have clear legislations. We have better applications. There's still some bullshit within crypto. We know that, but it's much better than we were. Then in terms of interest rates, we're at 4.5% for the US one. Still high enough in Europe and as well in Asia. So we could cut massively more interest rates. So all in all, we're definitely in a bear trap. Does this mean we're going to stay there at 80,000 and Bitcoin 81,000 is trading, go back way up to 120? Maybe not. I think so. There's going to put a lot of pressure, right? You're seeing right now that essentially Trump wanted the Fed to cut rates, and they're not doing it. And after tomorrow, we're going to see the inflation numbers, and we'll see if the inflation are low. Maybe then we'll be cutting, in June or whatsoever. And this is changing a lot. If you looked at 3 days ago, people thought they're not going to cut in June, and now people are quite bullish about the stances that we're going to cut rates and inject liquidity. It's hard to say, but what we know is that we are in this trend, we are in a bull market. And we might experience a lot of volatility, and that's a good time to be able to cash out some money. So if you want to play this, there's obviously the order limits, or if we go back to 90,000, maybe you could take some profit on some of your Bitcoin or other different cryptos and buy back when we have another pullback, because I personally think that it's not finished. There's going to be a nice bigger pullback. Unfortunately, that's going to happen, and then we're going to go back from that. But we still have 2-3 months or 4 months where it's going to be rock and roll. But take it, don't invest more money than you could afford to lose. Number one, stick to what you believe, invest in what you have, and make sure that you're not listening to many crazy things. Just stick to your plan, okay? That's the most important. We talked about this just before. Quick about Crypto Summit was quite a crazy one. The U.S. Treasury has 220,000 Bitcoin, I think so, something like that. They're going to put it in the reserve. They're going to put other different type of cryptos such as Ethereum, Sol, ADA, and XRP, but they might be able to trade it, which is good. I think so. This is definitely very interesting. Now they have to put it in place, and what we're seeing right now with the Bitcoin is, we're definitely correlated to what's happening on the markets in general, geopolitical conditions, but as well macro and what NASDAQ is happening. So we see that NASDAQ has one of the big serious drop yesterday. I mean, Tesla is minus 50% from all-time high. Tesla owner. So sadly, that was a big one. I was very happy to do 150% up. I should have sold there. But that's a good lesson for me. And most probably, the big support right now for Bitcoin, 74,000. And I think we're going to see correlation that will continue because it's all based on liquidity. And then, crypto is always a NASDAQ. Now it's the NASDAQ plus, right? So when NASDAQ goes well, then big crypto does very well. And then when it doesn't do well at all, on the opposite, crypto doesn't go well at all. So I think same for, NASDAQ. It has now a support at 19,380. So we'll see how that goes. So guys, what should we do? and what are the best thing? I think so to invest is really what we should do, is how you stick to a plan on a monthly basis. Whenever you receive your salary, X% of your salary goes into buying a thematic, your favorite core, or your favorite core. I would say those two is, I would do that, and it really is important. Like Warren Buffett would say, if you like spending 6 to 8 hours per week working on investments, do it. If you don't, then call dollar cost average, and that's for stocks. For cryptos, more 30 hours to be honest. Then Kenneth Fisher, time in the market beats timing the market, and I do agree on that one. I still think it's very important to look at what the market is doing. Last but not least, stick to the plan, and that's what I've been saying multiple times. Is just do it. It's very difficult to stick to the plan. We always have this temptation with money and emotions and ego and whatsoever. But stick to a plan. So dollar cost average is about auto investing. Avoid your emotional decisions. It really has a better profile for it. It's very easy to set up. You could go into your core investments, so it's Bitcoin, whatever it is, Bitcoin, Ethereum, it could be Borg token, it could be Solana, anything that you have high convictions on the long run. And then if not, go into thematics. I mean, the bundles, the ones that you believe is the best ones. We have many. Now let's talk about governance and in-app. So this is very important. We all know in the journey of crypto that it's all about do it yourself. And it's very hard to be by yourself. That's why we have this Pow Wow, and this is why we have this dialogue. In the chapter 4, we have now tried to think about chapter 5, we thought about what's the future of investing and how we could bring collective intelligence or swarm intelligence to the next level. So this is all what it is. Do it yourself, do it ourselves, right? Instead of do it yourselves, do it ourselves. So what do you mean by do it ourselves is we could create a bundle. Our protocol create a bundle where you guys co-manage it together. And I think this is very important. The management and the investment and the management of these bundles will go to everyone. Anyone that will be in the app will be able to invest into a bundle and therefore vote on the asset allocation of the bundle. However, the question that we have today is to say the creator of these bundles that will be able to receive rewards based on this creation of this bundle, should it be only restricted to the top 1,000 or should it be for everyone? And, a lot of people internally have said, but democratizing is about everyone. That is true, but it's choosing the right partners to create the right bundles in the beginning is going to be a key stone. They need to be investment savvy. They need to be able to bring more people. They need to have a voice and they need to have loyalty. What's the best thing about loyalty is bringing essentially people in within the Borg ecosystem to grow. That's why I believe that having only the top 1,000 Borgers is the best way for us to enable to create this meritocracy where we have strong leaders, you guys that are in the top 1,000 that could essentially be able to create these bundles and therefore get rewarded and get a yield on your Borg with that. Because, at X% of the bundle fee will go to buy back Borg and to be rewarded to you guys. So I think this is a great way for Borgers and top 1,000 Borgers to get to be some great utility within it and as well create a competition of those top 1,000. So a new strong utility to that. So again, option A, only the top 1,000 Borgers can launch community bundles and earn rewards. All the other Borg holders can invest and vote on asset allocation. Or option B, every Borger can become a founder, launch a community bundle, and play a key role in shaping its evolution. So again, up to you to vote, guys. Please do it, and looking forward to the answer. And if there is the way to scan your vote, if you haven't done so far, if you want to change your mind and vote for yes or for no. Product updates, a lot of new tokens, a new stablecoin, which is really cool, but some new nice, essentially DeFi with Marinade, Nexo, and as well DYDX. And we have some AI rig complex and 0x protocol, which is very nice to have. Ta-da! Great project from French community members that had done their fantastic relaunch through the BorgPad. People are in the green, so congrats for those that participated even after this massacre. So this was definitely a great deal for it, and bringing Tada to Solana is a great thing. So congrats to this, and congrats to the team Tada. Earn with SwissBorg, XBorg, getting some yield with staking, you know the drill, so go and do that. There is no risk, only liquidity constraints. TRX, Tron, we're having a yield on it, which is great. Now let's talk about trading vaults. Again, we know what to invest. Sometimes we don't know how to invest and how to take some profits. Alpha trading as vaults is exactly this new opportunity that's enabling you to just let it go. Do you believe in Tau? Yes. In that case, well, we're launching a trading vault. The trading vault will try to capture and to buy essentially Tau at a cheap price and be able to exit it. BitDoctor.ai, a new alpha deal. This is a really cool project that essentially enables people to reinvent how science could be. And distributed science or decentralized science is a great way that can enable a lot of people to be part of a network that could change our habits of how essentially science is done. And I think so this is something that's really great regarding the healthcare. This is something that, you know, could finally control your data. You could ability to really bring your data to get rewarded, to let a network make science in a better way. So I think so this is definitely something that is a big theme. It's an early theme that few people have been playing already. We believe that science is one of that's really interesting because they already have an app, they already have a community that's behind, and I think so this is something that could make a big change. When we look at the current program, is that they believe there's 4 billion people that don't have basic healthcare, and they believe that through AI, deepen and science is going to be a way to do that. So what it is, it's an infrastructure play, but it has a great app. What is really good is that they've already reached 128,000 downloads, and they said they have 70,000 active users, which is crazy when you think about that. That 32,000 users that with one or more potential non-communicable disease that they threw to that. There's been a lot of noise about this, and the team itself is really good. The utility of the token has governance. What it is, it has utility within it. It could give you different things. There's rewards and different other ways to be played its token. The AIDD token is about to be launched within SwissBorg Alpha. The FDV is very low too, which is great. It's 5 million for the diamond, and the rest can be 5.5 million, which is cool. The vaults are going to be launched tomorrow, I believe, or within this week. So this is a nice one, and the vesting will be 6 months. So I think this is definitely a good play. Brings me to the next thing. You remember I was saying memes is a good thing, but I think so the next is like more fundamental projects. Well, I don't think so. You could get more fundamental and important than this one. SwissBorg Sports Center, latest results. Congrats to Servette. People want to check out Servette. I think so. We're going to be doing a drop of many tickets. If you want going forward, you just need to wear your jersey there. Talking about meetups, we have many meetups coming up. We have a little bit everywhere in Switzerland, in Geneva, in Valais, we have in Paris. We have one in Brussels too, which is going to be really cool. Scan here. You'll be able to meet your best friends over there, the Borgers that you love very much. We're having as well a nice event tomorrow at our wonderful decentralized partner house, which will be a lot of cool things. We have as well another one that will happen in Neuchâtel on March 18th. This was really fun last time, so it's going to be another great one. Borg and some data. 400 people have updated their premiums, which is great, though not so many more new Borgers from last week, unfortunately. Volume is doing well. Active users pretty much well, and net flow as well has been great. However, KYC not so great, and exchanges pretty much little bit less than last week. So it gives us to, unfortunately, not the best score, 4.8. Pretty much everything is red besides Borg holders, and that's it. Beautiful Borgers, stick to the plan. As always, be healthy, be wealthy, love our Borg iniquity. Much love, bye.
Thank you for watching our weekly Pow Wow episode. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't, tune in next week anyway, so that you can figure out if it's better then. Bye!